If a Sigma male wakes up in a cold sweat during the night, chances are he was dreaming of small talk. There are few things that go more against the nature of a Sigma male than making forced, surface-level conversation with another person, just for the sake of keeping up social appearances. Small talk, by its very definition, is not meant to be deep or meaningful, but more so a way of being polite and maybe later building a connection with others. But for some people among us, particularly Sigmas, small talk can be uncomfortable and uninteresting. It can feel like a waste of time and energy and can make us feel like we're not being our authentic selves. And that's why Sigma males have developed a range of precision tactics to help them escape from the nightmare that is making small talk. And that's what we're going to go through today. Here's the Sigma male guide to avoiding small talk at all costs. Number 1. Being direct. Being direct is one of the most effective Sigma male tactics to help avoid small talk in social situations. Although they are not famed for being particularly outgoing or talkative, Sigmas do possess a quiet confidence that allows them to speak assertively and honestly about what they want. They're able to do this thanks to their lone wolf mentality, and existing outside of the social dominance hierarchy means that Sigmas don't lose energy worrying about how people will judge them for how they act. They're not afraid of speaking openly and directly about how they feel. And by communicating clearly and assertively during a conversation, a Sigma's able to lay out his preferences and interests and make it clear that he's not interested in engaging in superficial conversation. While some people feel more comfortable sticking to the safety of small talk, Sigmas are not afraid to switch things up a bit and directly address more complicated or deeper topics fairly early into a conversation. Number 2. Ask open-ended questions. Without a good question, a good answer has no place to go. And that's why Sigma males focus on how they ask questions when they are seeking to develop a deeper level of conversation. Sigmas take responsibility for the fact that they themselves have the ability to steer the conversation away from small talk if they focus themselves on asking the right questions. A slightly better question can yield a much better answer. Just think about the difference between asking someone, "Did you have a good day?" and "What was the best part of your day?" The first question will usually elicit an autopilot response such as yes or sure. But the second question, on the other hand, will throw the person you're talking to slightly off guard and cause them to really think about the answer they give. Posing questions in this more open-ended way is a great technique that Sigmas use to steer conversation away from textbook answers and get whoever they're talking to truly use their brains and reflect on their answers. Sigmas are big into self-reflection, so this style of conversation is way more up their alley than your usual standard back-and-forth small talk. Investing time and effort to be truly curious and ask thought-provoking questions quickly takes conversation in a more interesting direction that opens the door for deeper topics in general. Number 3. Create a ladder to vulnerability. As a conversation progresses, it's possible to gradually move into more personal and open topics. For Sigmas, this can be visualized as a ladder of sorts, with each rung representing a more meaningful level of conversation. Sigma males who are naturally analytical and reflective may find it challenging to be more vulnerable when first getting to know someone. They might tend to keep their emotions to themselves, but by gradually opening up and sharing their thoughts and feelings, they can foster deeper connections with others. Through sharing their personal experiences and feelings, they can create opportunities for others to do the same with very low stakes, leading to a deeper understanding of one another and stronger relationships. It's also important to note that vulnerability is not synonymous with oversharing or being too open. As Sigmas have a very strong sense of their own boundaries, they're keenly aware of other people's boundaries, and they understand that not everyone may be comfortable with vulnerability. For Sigmas, it's about finding the right balance and being mindful of others. For sure, it can be a bit challenging, but by gradually opening up and being more mindful of others, they can foster deeper connections and understanding with those around them. It's a gradual process that can lead to a deeper understanding of oneself and others. Number 4. Bridging. Bridging in conversation refers to the technique of transitioning from small talk to more meaningful conversations. It's a way to avoid small talk and create deeper connections with others. It's a key tool that Sigmas can use to navigate social situations in a way that feels authentic and respectful to themselves. One way to bridge in a conversation is to find a common interest or topic of mutual interest with the person you're talking to. For example, if you're at a networking event and the person you're talking to mentions they love mountaineering, a Sigma might say something like, "I love mountaineering too. Have you ever tried going to this place?" And this is a simple Sigma tactic for showing interest in what the other person is saying, while also inviting them to share their own experiences and opinions on the topic. Bridging can also be achieved by asking open-ended questions that push the conversation in a direction that's more within the Sigma male's comfort zone. Asking questions in general is a great way to get a conversation flowing. If there's one thing that's true for non-Sigma males, it's that they really love to talk about themselves. And this ends up working in a Sigma male's favor, if he can just find a way to bridge the conversation to something personal that he finds interesting and worth talking about. Now, if you're enjoying this Sigma guide to avoiding small talk so far, please do take a second to head down and hit the like button, click subscribe, or drop a comment with your thoughts below. It's the easiest way to help support the channel, and it lets me know what kind of videos you guys enjoy the most. Now on to number 5, share personal experiences. Not known for their outgoing public personas, Sigmas don't always have the perfect quip or response in social situations. They don't tend to be the entertainers of their circles, and sometimes can find themselves at a bit of a loss for what to say, especially if the topic of conversation is not of particular interest to them. In these circumstances, Sigmas use the simple but clever tactic of simply sharing their own personal experiences in relation to a given topic of conversation. And this brings the level of conversation down to a more meaningful, personal level, and also invites the other person in the conversation the opportunity to offer up their own personal experiences. And getting to this level of conversation makes the other person feel closer and more relaxed, meaning that they are less likely to feel the need to stay strictly in the realm of small talk, opening the door for more interesting, open-minded conversation. Number 6. Choose social interactions carefully. In general, Sigma males do not tend to be the most social of people. They are rarely going to make themselves the center of attention and usually prefer their own company over the company of others. And this leads us to the most effective tactic Sigmas use for avoiding small talk: simply not talking. This is not to say that Sigma males won't talk at all, but they do curate their social interactions with a great deal more care than the average person would. Due to their lone wolf nature, they simply don't feel the need to keep up social appearances just for the sake of it, and to maintain relationships with people that only exist on a performative surface level. Instead, they stick to themselves and build friendships slowly. Sigmas connect best with others who like to take their time forming a relationship and who share a similar distaste for small talk. And by curating their social interactions and limiting the amount of situations they put themselves into that require small talk, Sigmas don't have to worry about getting stuck talking about the weather or their weekend plans at every street corner. Now, small talk and Sigmas are not words you often find said in the same sentence, and there's a good reason for it. Sigmas are tactical thinkers by nature, and in order to avoid the small talk that they find so boring, they have developed a whole plethora of reliable social tactics for wiggling out of small talk. And while this may seem avoidant on the surface, it's actually a great way of having more meaningful interactions and ultimately developing more fulfilling relationships with the people around you. If you found this video insightful, make sure to check out other Bloke Box videos on the social tactics of the Sigma male, like this one on how they handle awkward moments during social interactions. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.